Well, as you know, how would you describe the pond in one word?
um, I don't know. That is sort of off topic, but I'll say the pond is.
That's not how is that? I don't know how that's off topic, but go
Well, I
ahead.
know. The pond in and of itself is a
Is its own
yeah,
entity.
it's a good thing though, because it's old school and everybody visits and
Yeah.
loves on each other and eats Sunday lunch together, that kind of thing, and rocks on the porch swing. I mean, it's a neat place to live.
Yeah. I would say the biggest difference that I enjoy, and I mean, it's kind of so like for example, in Charlotte, I can roll out of bed on a Saturday morning and throw on a sweatshirt and my hair on top of my head and no makeup and go to the grocery store and get whatever. If I were to do that in my southern little hometown, I've got to make sure that I look good before I go because you never know who you're going to see. And
That is a thing.
that is a thing. That is a real thing. My mother, literally, this is a true story. When I was like, I don't know, little, and we you have to go, you live in the country, you have to physically take your trash to the dump.
Yes.
And this woman literally put on a full face of makeup and a dress to take trash to the dump. Okay, so that is a true story. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And so I think it's just things like that. There's parts that I love about a small town, but as far as the day to day life, I like being able to pretty much go out and do whatever you can think of at any time.
When I lived at the pond, there were always, chores on Saturday. And that's just like a kind of sort of I mean, I guess everybody does that, but in the South, it's just kind of different. You know what I mean? Because you got to clean your yard up because, everybody's going to look at that yard and talk about
Right.
it at church on Sunday.
Yeah.
So part of my Saturday, I always had to, mow the grass and weed eat and stuff at the pond. And actually, before I take a step further, will you please explain what the pond is? Because there are, the vast majority of people listening to this do not know what that means.
Okay.
Just a quick,
So
very
so
quick.
quick. And this is. I don't know that I mean, there's no. That you put me in a tough spot. That's
Just
hard,
explain
Caegan.
what it is.
Okay. Well, so people have told me over the years that, and this is not something that we describe it as, but I have had several people, like after I explain what it is, they
They call it a
say,
compound.
yeah, they call it a compound, and they're like, oh, so it's like a southern compound, like the Kennedys, except southern, and I'm like,
Kinda.
or
But when you
we'll
say that,
go
it
with
sounds like a cult.
exactly. No, yeah. So like basically, long story short, my great granddaddy had a bunch of land and literally dug out. And now this is the story as it was told to me.
As it was passed down generation to
I
generation.
don't. Yeah, this could be folklore for all I know. Like so apparently, like they dug out of the ground, like they dug until they hit. I don't know. Now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm wondering if this was told to me when I was a little girl and I like believed it or something. I'm really not sure. But they dug out the pond, like
Right.
they dug it out. Sorry.
We found water.
That phone.
Yeah, they found water. And so and then there was a pond, and then they all started building houses, and then it was like their children built a house, and then their children built a house, and then you just drive down this lovely little path, and there's just all these houses back there, but it's only our family. And it's interesting because when I was a little girl inviting a friend over to play, if I were to go play at somebody's house, it would be like that's just their house. I'm going to their house. The only people that live there are their parents and their siblings. And it's like, you come to my house, we're going to ride down the road on our bikes and go see my cousins and my aunt and uncles and this and that and the other. And you get a cookie here, and you get an ice cream sundae here, and you get a glass of sweet tea at Aunt Jackie's, and you get, and so it was the most wonderful childhood that I could not, I honestly feel bad for anyone who didn't experience it because it was lovely. However, you just kind of have to go down there and see it. And I think it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. So
You also left out, there's a community pool And if you drive down the path, there are horses. I mean, it is picturesque.
It's very picturesque, and I mean, that's because everybody got up and worked on their yard every Saturday at 8 a.m. for the past 100 years. So
Oh yeah, well, and like I was saying, part of
I moved away, so I didn't have to do yard work basically.
well, yeah, I would assume there's very little yard work to do in Charlotte.
I can see this pond place being like just a random fact, like and a good business opportunity, a wedding venue. Like that's like a perfect wedding venue.
I mean, my mom got married there.
Yeah, we've had quite a few weddings down there, family weddings. But as far as commercializing it,
I just don't see it working. Yeah,
it's sacred ground that we're not gonna. I'm making it sound like a freaking Indian.
Well, there's not a space big enough. I feel like.
No, there really isn't. There's not. It would have to be. Yeah, no, there's not.
It's odd. I can't really explain it. You'd have to.
Yeah.
But I was saying, on Saturdays, you go to the dump, blah blah blah. That was part of my Saturday,
right?
Cleaning up the yard and whatnot. And always, when you take the trash off, there would be your dear old grandfather, Mr. Eugene, doing his yard work or whatever.
They don't make him like Eugene anymore.
They don't. And he might be the finest man that ever lived.
There's no might about it.
He's your grandfather, so I know you'll say he is, obviously.
No, but like. Okay.
He is.
He really is.
And I told him on his 80th birthday, I said, Dean Martin's got nothing on Eugene. I mean, he invented cool. This man, when he was like 16, went on local TV like WRL and sang Elvis. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
That's your guy then.
But no. But what I was gonna say is he works in the yard in his old, worn out business, because he's a businessman. Yeah. And his old worn out business clothes. And I told you one time, I was like, something weird, Laura? I was like, I saw Granddaddy Eugene, or Uncle Eugene as I would call him. And I was like, he had loafers on when he was working. He was like mowing his grass, and she said, oh, those are his yard loafers. Just a Southern aristocrat. Yep.
Now that you say that, it's never dawned on me that other people do yard work in tennis shoes.
Well, boots or whatever.
It never occurred to me before because he always he had this old pair of loafers that he didn't wear to the
yard loafers.
I would love to see what those look like.
They're beat up, that's for sure.
Yeah, just beat up old, they're like tassel loafers, I feel like.
Penny loafers.
Yeah, like penny. I mean, it's odd. It's just I don't know. So let's get back on track, shall we?
Were we on a track?
Well, there was a derailment.
All right.
Country
derailment.
Life.
That's the spice of life.
Derailment, as Mary Raven Bennett would say.
I love that girl.
So, country life and city life.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically, you said what you prefer about the city. What do you miss most about living in the sticks?
Oh my God, that's easy. It's Sunday afternoon, just gathering around. There's always food. There's always drinks. There's always laughs. And every time I come home, there's always this story of like, oh my God, you missed it. Sunday, so-and-so did this or said this, something funny, like whatever. So it's just like the like when you live in the country, like that you just naturally spend more time with your family. But our family especially is just always on a Sunday afternoon / night, just cutting up and having a good old time. And I miss that a lot. So much so that every time I come home, I always plan to make sure that I'm like staying through a Sunday. I don't ever leave on a Sunday. I leave on a Monday morning because of that. So.
Yep. So it's the sense of community you miss. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you miss things like a Friday night football type thing, or do you miss that kind of stuff?
No.
'Cause that's not really. I would assume like that kind of thing is not as big like where you live.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, no.
Or what
No.
about like? Well, so like you said you have to dress up to go to town because like when you live in the sticks, like going to town is a thing because you don't live in town.
You don't
Like
live in a
it is
town. You
it
go
is
into a
you
town,
go
right?
to town like it is a trip. You have to travel at least 20 minutes.
That's what's so funny too. Is like my mom will be like she would never go to the groceries, go to Goldsboro twice in one day, like because it's a 20-minute drive. Whereas like if I need to go to the grocery store twice in one day, that's not a big deal. Like
It's a walk, right?
you going it's like unfathomable to go to town twice in one day and back, because you have to go to the town. You don't live in town. But
Spence, do you feel that sense of community in Roanoke Rapids? Like, is that like when you think about like your childhood? Obviously, because we see our childhood with rose-colored glasses. Obviously, when I think about how I grew up, I'm like, oh my gosh, it seemed like it was a movie. You know what I mean? It seemed like it was like Steel Magnolias or something. You know what I mean? Like it was just this picturesque Southern upbringing when I think about when I was little. But Spence, do you see like Roanoke Rapids that way?
I see like the way y'all talk about like gold, like where y'all the pond and all like that. Like y'all are more like more communitized. Like Runner Rabbits is kind of
Unitized, he said.
that's probably not even a word. I don't know. But like with us, like the Friday night football, like that's what it's all about here. Like if I brought a girl home from college and I took her to a football game back home, like that was like your way of like, hey, I'm
gonna marry this girl.
Exactly. Like you're introducing her to your teachers, your coaches.
Right.
There, she's gonna meet everybody.
Yeah.
But like we never did we would do the family meals like on the holidays, of course, like that. But like I would love to, and I've told Caegan this all the time. I said I'm gonna come to Spivey's Corner on a Sunday afternoon or go to Anna's grandma's or whatever. I was like, I would love to have done that every Sunday as a kid, and that is something I wish like. But I mean, I wouldn't have traded my childhood for anything. But
yeah, you need to bring him to the pond on a Sunday afternoon at least one time, Caegan.
He would love it.
I would.
We could fish.
Some fried chicken, or I mean, like it doesn't matter. Like just a home cooked good meal, and I'm in.
You'd find it there.
Yeah.
You would. Some bacon wrapped quail and some whiskey.